Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids. My name is Amit Changani and here we are again at Bajaj's Chakan test track. As I've been telling you, we have been coming here pretty often, but do we mind that? Not at all. And this time we have something really special with us. We have the all-new 2017 KTM 390 Duke with us, and what a machine it is. It's bristling with all new technology. It's bristling with new hardware and all new instrumentation, new LED tech. And boy, does this thing hold its own on the track. We had a fantastic session with this machine and I just cannot tell you how excited I am telling you all about it. So we'll talk about all its features and all its virtues one by one. Let's get going without wasting any more time. The 2017 Duke 390 shares much of its chassis components and panels with the Duke 250, which in turn is inspired from the monstrous 1290 Super Duke. The motorcycle looks uncannily similar to the Duke 250, but don't be mistaken, there are some really huge differences here. First off, there is the one-of-a-kind full TFT collar instrumentation, which is the PSD resistance here. Then you get a full LED headlamp system with 6 illumination points and DRLs. The switchgear on the left-hand side is unique too, with buttons to navigate through the extensive menus on the instrument console. It's quite an extensive information system, and we have explained it in great detail in another video, the link of which you can see on top of this video right now or in the description. Unlike the Duke 250 though, and like the RC390, the brake and clutch levers are adjustable to suit different glove sizes or hands. The seating position is slightly higher than the outgoing model, and the rider foot pegs are slightly more rear set and higher too. The underbelly exhaust has given way to a new side-swung exhaust primarily for BS4 and Euro 4 compliance. Also, while the rear sprocket gets a tooth less at 44 teeth, the overall gearing remains the same. The bike obviously gets the slipper clutch along with the bigger, sharper 320mm brakes. Tire speed rating has been reduced. KTM claims that the new H-rated tires rated for 210 km per hour are still way above the speed the bike can manage. The new tires are of a slightly harder compound. They'll be cheaper by a few grand too. KTM insists the reduction in rating won't affect the overall performance, while reducing purchase cost and increasing tire life. We'll let you know in detail about the performance of these in a bit. The bike gets switchable ABS along with road mode, which engages ABS at both ends, and supermoto mode, which turns only the rear ABS off. You also have the off mode here to turn ABS off on both wheels. Peak power from the motor remains the same as before at 43.5 PS, though the peak torque has gone up by 2 Nm and is now rated at 37 Nm. The side swung exhaust along with the open cartridge front forks have added about 5 kg to the bike's weight. Has it affected the performance? Well, acceleration remains terrific as ever, and the KTM 390 Duke still manages the 0 to 100 km per hour run in less than 6 seconds. We saw a top speed of 162 km per hour on the Speedo, which was still climbing at the Chakan backstraight on an extremely windy day. We need a longer stretch to find its true top speed though. As with the 2017 RC390, the Duke 390 gets ride-by-wire throttle and CAN bus with no ugly cables visible around the bike. The throttle response is sharp as a razor now. The ignition switch is also of the electromagnetic variety, which just needs one gentle dab and doesn't require you to keep it pressed. The 43mm dia front forks have been better damped and, like the 250, can now be adjusted for an increased ride height of up to 8mm. They also feature improved seals for better protection against oil leakages. The rear suspension has been given a heavy overhaul too. It now features separate chambers for oil and gas to prevent mixing at high temperatures and keeps the performance consistent. The ride feel is more sorted now, what with better damping, which prevents the machine from bouncing off the undulations and rough patches even while leaned over. The rear suspension also gets a sleeve for protection against dust and muck. Like the Duke 250, the Duke 390 gets a new split trellis frame with bolt-on subframe, which is painted in a contrasting white shade as against the orange for the main body. We must say, the Duke 390 looks absolutely smashing in that shade of orange, which is the only color on offer for the model. The all-metal tank is now bigger and can store a volume of 13.5 liters. The seats, like on the Duke 250, are better padded, wider and much more comfortable than before. The new shape of the tank and the extensions offer more space for the rider's knees, facilitating better control and movement while the bike is leaned over. The hubs for the 2017 Duke 390 wheels are larger. The wheels themselves are different as compared to the current 200 Duke and the outgoing 390 Duke, and feature a different alloy composition. So let's see whether the riding position on the KTM Duke 390 for the 2017 version has changed somewhat. Hop onto the motorcycle and you realize that the rear sets the foot pegs are a little rare set, little more rare. So riding position has been made slightly more aggressive, and as we realized while riding it on the racetrack, it actually feels nicer. It helps lean the motorcycle more aggressively and adds to the sporty character of the motorcycle. Also, the other thing that has changed is that the seat height has been increased slightly because of a few reasons. Primarily because the wheelbase has been shortened, so the rake has been reduced, so the wheelbase has been shortened, and that's why the seat height has been increased somewhat. Also, there's a bigger airbox now, so to accommodate all of that, the seat height is slightly higher. But as you can see, I am 5 feet 10 and I have both my heels with my knees a little bit bent on the ground, so there is no problem whatsoever. Even riders with slightly shorter height should not have any problem whatsoever.
Alright then, on the move the Duke feels as smashingly, addictively quick as always. Like an energetic, fervent young pup, it's extremely keen to get its paws up in the air, and what a rush it is to get it off the line. The throttle response is lightning quick, and that engine responds to the tiniest twists of the wrist in the most flagrant manner possible. This motorcycle feels alive with energy and an intent to rush through its rev range right from the word go. The 100 mark is disposed in the third gear in a manic sub 6 seconds. There is no shift indicator per se on the new instrument cluster, but the tacho throbs and gyrates in a hue of red as you reach the upper echelons of the rev range. The electronic tacho indicator oscillates wildly between 10 and 10.5 thousand revs before the limiter cuts in. A big change in terms of performance is a relatively strong mid-range, thanks probably to the increased torque, which is by virtue of a bigger airbox. The new Duke 390 feels much stronger through its mid-revs and comes across as a more practical, more usable motorcycle for the city. We'll have to wait for riding the motorcycle in the real world for the final verdict, but for now, this one definitely feels punchier through the mid-revs. The engine on the new Duke 390 remains unchanged, and the meat of its power starts kicking in at 6000 revs and beyond, taking you hastily to its addictive 10,000 RPM limit. It's an incredible engine which makes the Duke an incredibly enjoyable machine, and in its 2017 version, it's only better with that solid mid-range sock. The fueling is perfect, and at no point would you feel sudden spikes or drops in power delivery while accelerating progressively. In terms of city usability, the engine would start revving smoothly and would stop knocking above 3000 revs at speeds above 30 km per hour in third gear. For fourth gear, the engine smoothens up after 4000 clicks, while for fifth and sixth gears, it needs to be revved a couple hundred more rotations to smoothen out. The knock-free speeds for 4th, 5th and 6th gears are 45, 55 and 65 km per hour respectively. About the exhaust, here is what it sounds like through idling, mid-revs and at full throttle. On the move, the Duke feels bristling with raw energy right from the outset. The riding position is a tad more aggressive than the previous bike. The new suspension and its superior damping dispose undulations beautifully while aggressively leaned over. It's capable of handling a wider range of road imperfections without letting the bike unsettle. The relatively upright riding position and the flat handlebar isn't the best recipe for track use, and as compared to the razor-sharp RC390, the Duke feels a tad more on the edge, a tad more temperamental if you really ask us. But guess what? That really adds to the excitement, and we had a riot with this crazy machine around the Bajaj Shakan track. That chassis is wonderfully well set in isolation. However, in comparison with the RC that we rode here a few weeks back, the difference in the sharpness is quite evident. You do require some extra effort while snaking your way through those turns with that pocket monster of an engine trying to lay down all its power to the ground with the slightest twist of the wrist. It does put those Metzlers to some real test, especially on the demanding track conditions. The bite from the new 320mm front brake is fantastic. It's sharp and full of feel and can be modulated very well. We do have a few things to say about the new tires though. Blame it on the sweltering hot track on the test ride day and the resultant increase in tire pressure, or the new compound. But we did hear the front tire screech more than a few times when dropping the anchors aggressively. At the limit, we had our moments with the rear as well. While they do offer tons of grip, at the limit, the new tires can sometimes feel edgy, especially while you're powering out at exits or braking really hard.
So This one right here is the freshest product in the KTM lineup. For the 2017 models, this one gets all latest technology that KTM can offer. What we experience with the motorcycle is that it has changed somewhat in the character. From being a wild hoot which revs all the way to its red line without stopping anywhere through the rev range, what has happened is it has sobered down slightly, but it has not reduced its acceleration or top speed. What it has done is it has added a bit more practicality to the mix. So you have a meteor mid-range and you have more usability. The soundtrack has changed and KTM has loaded it with a lot of technology. The suspension has been retuned. So as a whole, you may be ending up paying 30,000 rupees more over the older version of the KTM Duke 390. But let me tell you what, this bike has all the goodies to make it worth it. If you want a bike which performs in the real world, this baby right here should be your choice.
Do let us know if you have any questions about this one, and we will try to answer them as soon as possible. At Motoroids, we are just warming up to revving things up and redlining the video space. So if you like this video, do subscribe to our channel as we are lining up loads of kick-ass auto content for you. Thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, rev hard, rev free, and ride safe.